First of all, let me spend a few words on what storage is all about, and that is to make the best use of the energy that's produced. So let's say as a radical concept, let's say that all the energy we produced went into storage and we used it whenever we needed it. Of course, it's not going to be quite like that, but the problem now is that we have a larger and larger component of renewable energy in our energy mix. And therefore, it's very difficult to balance the interaction between traditional power and renewable power. So what we do is really to facilitate a better use of renewable energy, to deliver it when it's needed, and vice versa, to make a better use of the traditional power.
And briefly, if you can explain in as simple terms as possible, what is the storage solutions that you are proposing or that you can offer?
The storage solution is in many ways quite simple. We store heat, but the source can be heat, let's say from a thermal power plant, or it can be renewable power, or it can be just plain electricity from the grid, or from, let's say, wind power. But we first have to convert that to heat, and then we can regenerate that back into electricity in the way of steam power, etc.
And give us a sense about how scalable this can be. Have you been able to demonstrate it on a large scale power plants?
Well, the technology is modular. So that means it sort of consists of many batteries. In our case, a battery is a thermal storage unit. So it will weigh typically a few hundred kilos up to a ton, but we can have any number of it, thousands. So it's not difficult to scale it up to gigawatt hours in terms of thermal energy, or we can scale it down below megawatt hours, a few hundreds kilowatt hours. But below that, of course, it's other technologies that typically would apply.
And to what extent could this be used in smaller countries, developing countries, which perhaps don't have larger developed grids? How could it be rolled out in countries, and how could it benefit their power supply?
Well, one concept that is addressed quite frequently these days is how to introduce renewable power to what is often referred to as isolated islands. Well, it doesn't have to be an island at sea, but it can be a region that is not connected to a major power grid. So how can they be able to rely on renewable energy? Well, of course, with solar energy, there is no energy when the sun goes down, and the wind is not reliable either. So if you are going to be off the main grids, you are absolutely dependent on storage, and that is a great challenge these days.
Okay, and a final point, I mean, in terms of the next steps for your technology and the interaction it could play with this process in terms of driving low carbon development forward, give us a sense about where you see yourself in the next couple of years.
Well, we are still at a rather early stage. That is, we have a technology that has been proven by a major research institute, TNO in our case, and we have done laboratory experiments to show how it works. We have done a lot of material testing, and next year, 2014, excuse me, we are actually going to establish 3 major pilots. So that will demonstrate our technology in various settings, and from then on, I think it's just a matter of scaling it up and implementing it wherever it makes sense.